We're live. Yes. Okay, two things. Because first of all, my lighting's going to be terrible today because one of my lamps is like our plug situation's the whole thing. They put these weird plug covers on so that the plugs can't actually get all the way in. So then they just like randomly fall out. So I need to like pop the cover off. They also don't have any visible
It's not
screws.
working is a safety feature.
Yes, because the part where I considered stuffing, so there's like the bottom plug for the router and the top one's for the lamp, and the one for the lamp just like did this and it won't stay in. And I considered like stuffing like a t-shirt or something in between them to hold it up, and then I was like, that doesn't seem like a fire hazard. Maybe I should do something else. But yeah, they don't have any visible screws, so you have to like go in there with a screwdriver and like pop them off. It's really weird. The plugs are totally normal underneath. It's just the covers. They got like the stylish kind for some fucking reason, and they're terrible.
Yeah.
So that's why my lighting's bad.
Okay.
But my funny story is that I was in the grocery store.
It's not so much bad as dramatic.
There's a lot of reflection happening on my glasses. I could be like a movie serial killer right now. You just can't see. Or I could just,
hacker.
Do the film school trick and do that.
Tell me the funny story about the grocery store.
So I'm in the checkout, and I have this mask. It has pomegranates on it. Pomegranates. It's a very. I'll have to text you a picture of the fabric. They are sliced in a way so that there are oval slices cut out of them, and the insides are pink, and it's very silly. So I have my purple hair, my matching purple pomegranate mask, and this is a Pride shirt. And the girl who's checking me out goes, I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but does that shirt have anything to do with National Coming Out Day? And I was like, oh, no, actually, this is from Pride a couple of years ago. It just happened to work out that way. And she was like, because that was yesterday, right? And I was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then she went, I'm very sorry if I made you uncomfortable. And I was like, girl, I am in the grocery store with purple hair and a Pride shirt. You think it makes me uncomfortable that you think I'm queer? Like,
if I felt like I could easily wear unbranded shirts if I didn't want you to bring it up.
If I wanted to be in the closet, literally everything about me could be less gay.
Good point. Yes. I was up late last night trying to finish the narration for Fluorine.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up failing. I had to call it quits because I recorded some extra audio to put between the awkward gaps, and somehow the second time I go into the closet and hit record, my voice is entirely different. So I can't insert these chunks of monologue in because it sounds like an entirely different, squeakier person. And I was like, okay, I'm just
yeah.
Not accomplishing this today. And then I was so obsessed with that, I forgot to post my card on Patreon. So today I went to do that and realized I needed to do some work on the card because it wasn't the current descriptive word.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, fuck, now I need to be in Photoshop. And I was also exhausted because I've been up super late, and Avi's math did not go as well today as usual.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. But I ended up taking a nap on the couch with our two tiny dogs, nestled around me. And that really did good things for the serotonin.
That sounds lovely for the serotonin.
It does.
I ate a tiny chocolate cake shaped like a pumpkin right before this, and that was quite good for the serotonin as well.
Yay!
TJ's they're adorable. They're like Petit Four sized, and they're little chocolate mousse cakes.
We've been cooking from the Overwatch cookbook that Avi got for his birthday.
Yeah, you told me about that last week.
Yeah, we did a few more this week. very likable recipes, very delicious. Most of them. I think the only one that wasn't 100% successful was the Canadian butter tarts, and I was glad they weren't all that successful because that meant more for me. They taste like pecan pie without the pecans. It's just pecan like, and it's not even like a gushy filling. It's like a nice thick layer of that syrupy goodness on a nice thick crust, and it's so sweet. And yeah, I ate pretty much the whole thing myself.
That sounds delightful.
So
Why?
good.
How does Canada like have all this good shit they don't tell us about? They've got Canadian butter tarts, they've got all dressed chips, they've got poutine.
Yeah,
They're hogging it up there.
they are. And then all they send to us is like the weird marshmallow and cheddar cracker recipes. Remember this? We tried it one time
I
doing
mean,
stuff. It was weird
wait, was that the one where we like microwaved saltines with marshmallows on them? Oh God, why did we do that?
because Canada tricked us. For anyone watching, we did a ton of like international gourmet cooking back in the day before the internet was a resource you could use for this. So we had to like hunt up cookbooks in our friends' mothers' attics and things, and some of them were more successful than others.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if the internet would have helped us that much because I found some god awful recipes on the internet.
There's some recipes I still don't know whether they're any good or not because it was preceded by 45 pages of what my family picnicked on an island and thought of this particular cupcake recipe. And not
Why?
time I scroll, I'm like, I'm done with you. You think you're the only cupcake recipe?
Well, you're not. That's what I like about like allrecipes.com is like there's no
Recipe.
autobiography. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't care about your life. I really don't care about your life at all. Please just tell me how many
What I'm
eggs.
reading this for. And I do appreciate the bloggers that have a little skip to recipe button, but those are not as common as they ought to be. Oh, we would have, the six-armed chef would have been an internet sensation, and then we would have gotten bored and wandered away. We could be
I
an
can't maintain a
internet
blog.
sensation right now.
No, there's no. I've tried to have a blog so many times. It lasts about 5 posts. It's not something I'm good at.
I kept my blog going for almost 2 years, I think. There's still some readable shit in there. Anyone who wants to go see, it's on Weebly for now. Trying to get it moved over to Squarespace, but I don't have the technical know-how. You probably get to have your wish and read Gimli talking about the glittering caves of Aglaron because I think that's what we're approaching. And I had to paint out Ruthenium's face because, trust me, it was a fail.
Well, it's currently a little disturbing, so. She looks like a pharaoh that you attempted to remove from history.
Hatshepsut, no! Oh, and shout out to my friend who is watching. Wes said he was enjoying, and I was like, oh, someone's enjoying besides me.
Yeah, I should check YouTube and see like what kind of views we get because we don't typically have people watching us live. But
No,
I'm curious.
Awkward hours or something.
Oh, nope, I just signed out. Oops.
Don't do that.
Oops. Was I signed in with my work email? No.
I hope not.
It's
like
trying.
You look very alarmed.
I was very alarmed because the video that I had been watching started autoplaying, and I was like, "Excuse, please."
Yeah.
Please don't autoplay again. Love you guys. If I haven't talked about this already, I just lost my train of thought. If I haven't talked about this already, I really enjoy a channel called Royalty Soaps,
Oh,
and they're delightful people, and that's what was auto playing.
check. You have brought up royalty soaps.
I've been
When we were
binge
talking about
watching them a lot.
I should let Jason know that I'm not that I can hear him. Well, I can hear what he's watching. So he decided I am a miserably shitty person to watch any TV series with because if we walk away from it for a week, we're done with it forever. Like I never come back.
Oh, you too?
Yeah. And I don't mean to be that way. Like we stopped at a couple of episodes into the second season of Legion, and I love Legion. It's amazing. But I am the miniseries queen. If it's 8 to 12 episodes, I can watch the fuck out of those and then I'm done. But Jason once accused me of doing this and I was like, "No, I don't." And he listed the TV shows that we've quit watching, like Orphan Black and Agents of Shield, and like the list is pretty extensive and it was embarrassing and I had to apologize, but I've been working a lot on my videos, so I said pick a show that you can watch that I don't give a shit about. So he started watching the Star Wars Clone Wars. The old
Oh, yeah.
Clone Wars that got such, it was lauded as being something to fill in personality traits and stuff, and it was supposed to be good. And he loves the Star Wars comics, so he's watching it, and we all agree it's absolute garbage.
Okay, well, here's the thing with Clone Wars that I did.
He's
Not
still watching
really.
because he's a completionist.
Yes. Well, and like, because when I watched a few episodes of it because I was dating someone who was really into Star Wars and it was like a thing, right? But the thing was, we agreed that all of the episodes with Anakin were boring as hell, so we only watched the episodes with the clones. And
The
if you
clones
do
are
that,
great.
it's actually quite enjoyable. It's just no one cares about Anakin's whiny butt.
Yeah. Yesterday, while I was editing footage, Jason was watching an episode where Padme has to go spy on another senator to see if he's really working for the bad guys. And he happens to be an ex-lover. Anakin gets his panties in a twist so bad that she, first of all, gets to speak to a male. Secondly, a male who has feelings for her and is an ex-lover of hers. That he like rides her across the rails and acts like a total douche and a jealous dirtbag. And at the end of the episode, she's been poisoned by the bad guys. The dude definitely was a traitor, but he risks his life to get her the antidote. And Anakin leaves him on the planet with the people who now know he was a double agent and are probably going to kill him.
That's because Anakin is the literal worst.
Not just that, but Padme, as she comes out of her like poison-induced coma, apologizes to him for making you doubt me.
This is why I only watch the clone episodes. Fives is great.
Yeah. Anyone, anywhere watching this, that's not love. That's a fucking abusive relationship. She is victim blaming herself, and I wanted to slap them both. I did when I watched the movies too. They were
terrible. They were a very unlikable couple for whom I did not root.
Which is funny because I would be gay for Natalie Portman. She is an absolute badass. It was such a terribly written character that even her beauty and genius and awesomeness couldn't save it. So that's what I'm hearing through the ceiling.
I can't hear it on my end. No.
Good. We're doing well then.
I looked at our YouTube or like our metrics and whatever just to see, and we have a couple of views, like not probably one or two per video or whatever, but we had a comment at some point of someone going, the fuck is this? And I'm like, I don't know how to answer that, honestly.
Exactly. Thank you, random human. This
Like,
is siblings who can't see each other because we're in a pandemic.
basically.
We're not here for you.
Well, and I'm just like, you mean like literally? Because it says in the intro and the description, like literally what it is. And then other than that, yeah, no, we're just self-indulgent mainly.
Incredibly self-indulgent. Anyone's welcome to come along. But yeah, no, if we got no views, I would still come back in 10 years and watch this while I drank a margarita and be like, oh yeah.
Oh, it might take me more than 10 years. Shall we read? And by we, I mean me.
Freya apologized for hardly ever watching. She was like, I don't really want to. I hate listening to people read aloud. And I was like, well, then I've got good news for you. Because we don't do a whole lot of that.
Look, just because it's taken us 7 months to get through 1.5 books. Yeah, that's also really legit. Like, I hate audiobooks. I can't stand audiobooks. So
Me too.
I do not blame anyone for not wanting to listen to us, but some people find it soothing, so.
Right? And if you want to listen to us blather at each other, I'm sure that's charming to some weirdo out there.
I don't blather. I tangentialize.
And they're not weird. You what?
I tangentialize.
I like that one. I non sequitur.
Yes, you do. All right.
Penguins. Actually, no, I'm just
Wait, what about penguins?
Abby's playing Subnautica Below Zero, and they have these weird creatures that look like conehead penguin things, and I love them so much.
Sounds delightful.
They're beautiful.
Ahem. Chapter 8. The Road to Isengard.
They're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
I literally almost made that the title of the episode. And then I was like, that was a while back, but
it was, yeah. It's always relevant.
It's like the 12-year anniversary of that song was recently. Maybe more. Maybe 15. Probably 15.
Oh man.
Yikes. Anyway.
Creator did good. Your legacy is remembered.
You know those posts? Here we go. Tangentializing. You know those posts on the internet that are like, good morning to, and then they list like very specific characteristics, but it's actually like the cast of a TV show or something?
Actually, no, that doesn't sound familiar.
So I used to think they were completely random. I didn't realize that they were fandom things. But it'll be like, so it would be like, good morning to disenchanted police chiefs, young orphans seeking their fortune from the mountains, middle-aged matrons who raise dragons. But it would go on and on, right? Werewolves undercover, trans dwarves.
I think I get what fandom you're going for.
You think? Anyway, but those posts go around and so forth. And I saw one that was good morning to Benito Mussolini and the Blue Meanie and Cowboy Curtis and John. It was like, God, but it was the whole list. And then at the bottom it said, try not to wrap this. And I was like, I cannot.
I can't. Oh, RoboCop, Terminator.
Benito Mussolini and the Blue Meanie, Cowboy Curtis and John B. the Genie, RoboCop, Terminator, Captain Kirk and Darth Vader, Lopan, Superman, every single Power Ranger, Bill S. Preston and Theodore Logan, Spock the Rock, Doc Ock, and Hulk Hogan. You messed me up because we're slightly off pace with each other. But yeah.
Yeah.
I will
Madeline
never
never
forget that
died.
rap. It's not possible for me to forget it. I am using valuable brain cells that I could be using to do literally anything else. Quantum physics. Um, no,
Nope.
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 Ultimate Showdown. That's what I use them for.
Well, it was ultimate.
It was my ultimate destiny, clearly. All right, I'm reading now for real. For real,
Yeah.
real.
I don't believe you.
Oh, I just made the weirdest face. You know that's going to end up being the thumbnail. God damn it. Anyway,
Here,
the
I'll
road to Isengard.
there.
I know I can manually do it. I just haven't bothered. So it was that in the light of a fair morning, King Theoden and Gandalf the White Rider met again upon the green grass beside the deeping stream. There was also Aragorn, son of Arathorn, and Legolas the Elf, and Erkenbrand of Westfold, and the lords of the Golden House. Yes, we know! We've been with these people for the last, 100 pages.
But we're feeling very formal right now.
Apparently.
They're the people that are still alive.
About them were gathered the Rohirrim, the riders of the Mark. Wonder overcame their joy and victory, and their eyes were turned towards the wood. So you say wonder, but I hear, pants-wetting terror.
Yeah.
Suddenly there was a great shout, and down from the dike came those who had been driven back into the deep. There came Gamling the Old, and Eomer, son of Eamund, and beside them walked Gimli the Dwarf.
Yay!
He had no helm, and about his head was a linen band stained with blood, but his voice was loud and strong. 42, Master Legolas, he cried. Alas, my axe is notched. The 42nd had an iron collar on his neck. How is it with you? You have passed my score by 1, answered Legolas, but I do not begrudge you the game. So glad am I to see you on your legs. Welcome, Eomer, sister son, said Theoden. Now that I see you
they
safe, I am
don't say
glad
those
indeed.
two kissed right there, but I feel like they must.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
If they didn't, it was only because it was an extremely formal moment.
Okay, yeah. Formal kisses. Anyway, go ahead.
What does that look like? I'm putting on chapstick 1 sec.
Okie dokie.
All right. Hail, Lord of the Mark, said Eomer. The dark night has passed and day has come again. But the day has brought strange tidings. He turned and gazed in wonder, first at the wood and then at Gandalf. Once more you come in the hour of need, unlooked for, he said. Unlooked for? Said Gandalf. Bitch, what? I said that I would return and meet you here. Awkward.
Right. Quick,
But you did not
cover your ass.
But you did not name the hour, nor foretell the manner of your coming. Strange help you bring. You are mighty in wizardry, Gandalf the White. That may be, but if so, I have not shown it yet. Why does everyone get into pissing contests with Eomer? Right? Does he just have an extremely punchable face or something?
Something about you pisses me off, Eomer, son of Eamund.
I feel like he's just really annoying because everybody immediately gets into a fight with him.
But Gandalf's doing his usual, I ain't saying shit.
Well, right, but I'm just saying, I feel like... But if so, I have not shown it yet. I have but given good counsel in peril, and made use of the speed of Shadowfax. Your own valor has done more, and the stout legs of the Westfold men marching through the night. Then they all gazed at Gandalf with still greater wonder. Some glanced darkly at the wood, and passed their hands over their brows, as if they thought their eyes saw otherwise than his. You showed up with magical trees. What? No, what? Trees? Where?
Oh no, I'm not with them.
Oh my god. I don't know if you remember what he says next, but Gandalf laughed long and merrily. The trees, he said. Nay, I see the wood as plainly as do you, but that is no deed of mine. Literally, he says, I'm not with them.
I'm not with them.
It is a thing beyond the counsel of the wise, better than my design, and better even than my hope the event has proved. Then if not yours, whose is the wizardry? Said Theoden. Not Saruman's, that is plain. Is there some mightier sage of whom we have yet to learn? It is
The
not
blue
wizardry.
ones.
Yeah, the blue wizards literally never do anything. They are the pirates who don't do anything of Middle-earth. Like, I don't know what...
In the east and lie around.
And if you ask them to do anything, they'll just tell you we don't do anything. Yep. Yep, that. Exactly.
Yeah.
It is not wizardry, but a power far older, said Gandalf. A power that walked the earth ere elf sang or hammer rang. Ere iron was found or tree was hewn, when young was mountain under moon. We may have talked about this, but it would be very unsettling to live in Middle-earth and, like, in the middle of a conversation, someone starts with the poetry. Just like, why are you
just
rhyming?
make sure you've got some yourself.
No. At least they probably don't do poetry voice.
Right? They don't declaim. There's no hand on the breast and one outstretched, like...
Not even that. It's the, like, when you go to, like, the poetry slam and people are reading, like, this, pausing in the wrong place to make an emphatic gesture. That's poetry voice. Ere iron was found, or tree was hewn, when young was mountain under moon, ere ring was made, or wrought was woe.
Stop!
It
walked in forests long ago.
And what may be the answer to your riddle? Said Theoden. If you would learn that, you should come with me to Isengard, answered Gandalf, because he has never answered a straight or never given a straight answer to a question, and he is not going to start now.
Absolutely not.
To Isengard? They cried.
To Isengard!
To Isengard!
To Isengard! Oh wait, that's the Ents talking in poetry.
Yes, said Gandalf. I shall return to Isengard, and those who will may come with me. There we may see strange things. But there are not men enough in the mark, not if they were all gathered together and healed of wounds and weariness, to assault the stronghold of Saruman, said Theoden. Nevertheless, to Isengard I go, said Gandalf. I shall not stay there.
To say it's okay, he's already overthrown? Nah.
He is not going to start now. I don't know how many times I need to tell you that. Let's see. I shall not stay there long. My way now lies eastward. Look for me in Edoras ere the waning of the moon. Nay, said Theoden. In the dark hour before dawn I doubt it, but we will not part now. I will come with you, if that is your counsel. I wish to speak with Saruman as soon as may be now, said Gandalf. And since he has done you great injury, it would be fitting if you were there. But how soon and how swiftly will you ride? My men are weary with battle, said the king, and I am weary also, for I have ridden far and slept little. Alas, my old age is not feigned, nor due only to the whisperings of Wormtongue. It is an ill that no leech can wholly cure, not even Gandalf.
You just call me a leech?
Look, leeches are very good at their job. Then let all who are to ride with me rest now, said Gandalf. We will journey under the shadow of evening. It is as well, for it is my counsel that all our comings and goings should be secret as may be henceforth. But do not command many men to go with you, Theoden. We go to a parley, not to a fight." The king then chose men that were unhurt and had swift horses, and he sent them forth with tidings of the victory into every vale of the mark. And they bore his summons also, bidding all men, young and old, to come in haste to Edoras. There the lord of the mark would hold an assembly of all that could bear arms on the second day after the full moon. To ride with him to Isen-WHAT, the king chose Eomer and 20 men of his household. With Gandalf would go Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli. In spite of his hurt, the dwarf would not stay behind. "It was only a feeble blow, and the cap turned it," he said. "It would take more than such an orc scratch to keep me back." "I will tend it while you rest," said Aragorn. "For the love of God, lay down, you have a concussion."
Right.
The king now returned to the Hornburg and slept, such a sleep of quiet as he had not known for many years, and the remainder of his chosen company rested also. But the others, all that were not hurt or wounded, began a great labor, for many had fallen in the battle and lay dead upon the field or in the deep. No orcs remained alive, their bodies were uncounted, but a great many of the hillmen had given themselves up, and they were afraid and cried for mercy. The men of the mark took their weapons from them and set them to work. "Help now to repair the evil in which you have joined," said Erkenbrand, "and afterwards you shall take an oath never again to pass the ford of Isen in arms, nor to march with the enemies of men." I don't know why, but I have this urge to make Erkenbrand a 1940s radio announcer. "And then you should go free back to your land, see? For you have been deluded by Saruman. Many of you have got death as the reward of your trust in him. But had you conquered, little better would your wages have been." The men of Dunland were amazed, for Saruman had told them that the men of Rohan were cruel and burned their captives alive. In the midst of the field before the Hornburg, 2 mounds were raised, and beneath them were laid all the riders of the mark who fell in the defence, those of the East Dales upon one side, and those of Westfold upon the other. In a grave alone under the shadow of the Hornburg lay Hama, captain of the king's guard. He fell before the gate.
Damn it.
Moment of silence for Hama, everybody.
God, yeah.
He was the only person in this book with even a shred of common sense, except for Sam.
And now he's gone. Oh, humanity's hope wanes.
The orcs were piled in great heaps away from the mounds of men, not far from the eaves of the forest, and the people were troubled in their minds, for the heaps of carrion were too great for burial or for burning. They had little wood for firing, and none would have dared take an axe to the strange trees, even if Gandalf had not warned them to hurt neither bark nor bough at their great peril. "Let the orcs lie," said Gandalf. "The morning may bring new counsel." "Yeah, the trees are going to eat them in the night."
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. And you know it, Gandalf.
That's why he's not fussed about it.
Yeah,
Literally man-eating
it's fine.
carrion-eating trees. Yeah.
I'm not saying that the trees are carnivorous. I'm just saying don't worry about the bodies.
They're not your problem. Don't ask any more questions.
Really, Gandalf's motto is, "I will not be taking follow-up questions at this time." In the afternoon, the king's company prepared to depart. The work of burial was then but beginning, and Theoden mourned for the loss of Hama, his captain, and cast the first earth upon his grave. "Great injury indeed has Saruman done to me and all this land," he said, "and I will remember it when we meet." The sun was already drawing near the hills upon the west of the Coombe, when at last Theoden and Gandalf and their companions rode down from the dike. Behind them were gathered a great host, both of the riders and of the people of Westfold, young and old, women and children, who had come out from the caves. A song of victory they sang with clear voices, and then they fell silent, wondering what would chance, for their eyes were on the trees, and they feared them. The riders came to the wood and halted. Horse and man they were unwilling to pass in. The trees were gray and menacing, and a shadow or a mist was about them. The ends of their long sweeping boughs hung down like searching fingers. Their roots stood up like from the ground like the limbs of strange monsters, and dark caverns opened beneath them. But Gandalf went forward, leading the company, and where the road from the Hornburg met the trees, they saw now an opening like an arched gate under mighty boughs. And through it Gandalf passed, and they followed him. One moment.
Mm-hmm.
Then in their amazement they found that the road ran on, and the deeping stream beside it, and the sky was open above and full of golden light. But on either side the great aisles of the wood were already wrapped in dusk, stretching away into impenetrable shadows, and there they heard the creaking and groaning of boughs, and far cries, and a rumor of wordless voices murmuring angrily. No orc or other living creature could be seen. Legolas and Gimli were now riding together upon one horse. Yay! And they kept close beside Gandalf, for Gimli was afraid of the wood. "It is hot in here," said Legolas to Gandalf. "I feel a great wrath about me. Do you not feel the air throb in your ears?" "Yes," said Gandalf. "What has become of the miserable orcs?" said Legolas. "That, I think, no one will ever know," said Gandalf.
Trees ate them.
Yep.
They crunched their bones.
For someone who loved trees, Tolkien sure was into making them eat people.
Well, orcs.
They tried to eat the hobbits, too.
Oh, yeah, okay, really good point.
They rode in silence for a while, but Legolas was ever glancing from side to side, and would often have halted to listen to the sounds of the wood if Gimli had allowed it. "These are the strangest trees that ever I saw," he said, "and I have seen many an oak grow from acorn to ruinous age. I wish that there were leisure now to walk among them. They have voices, and in time I might come to understand their thought." "No, no," said Gimli, "let us leave them. I guess their thought already. Hatred of all that go on two legs, and their speeches of crushing and strangling." "Not of all that go on two legs," said Legolas. "There I think you are wrong."
They hate you. They like me.
"It is orcs that they hate, for they do not belong here, and know little of elves and men. Far away are the valleys where they sprang. From the deep dales of Fangorn, Gimli. That is whence they come, I guess." "Then that is the most perilous wood in Middle-earth," said Gimli. "I should be grateful for the part they have played, but I do not love them. You may think them wonderful, but here we go.
Yeah.
But I have seen a greater wonder in this land, more beautiful than any grove or glade that ever grew, and my heart is still full of it. Strange are the ways of men, Legolas. Here they have one of the marvels of the northern world, and what do they say of it? Caves, they say. Caves. Holes to fly to in time of war, to store fodder in. My good Legolas, do you know that the caverns of Helm's Deep are vast and beautiful? There would be an endless pilgrimage of dwarfs merely to gaze at them if such things were known to be. Aye, indeed, they would pay pure gold for a brief glance." "And I would give gold to be excused," said Legolas, "and double to be let out if I strayed in." "You have not seen, so I forgive your jest," said Gimli, "but you speak like a fool. Legolas, you ignorant slut. Do you think those halls are fair where your king dwells under the hill in Mirkwood, and dwarves helped in their making long ago? They are but hovels compared with the caverns I have seen here. Immeasurable halls, filled with an everlasting music of water that tinkles into pools, as fair as Heleth Aram in the moonlight. In the starlight. And Legolas, when the torches are kindled and men walk on the sandy floors under the echoing domes, then, Legolas, gems and crystals and veins of precious ore glint in the polished walls, and the light glows through folded marbles, shell-like, translucent as the living hands of Queen Galadriel. There are columns of white and saffron and dawn rose, Legolas, fluted and twisted into dreamlike forms. They spring up from many-colored floors to meet the glistening pendants of the roof, Wings, ropes, curtains fine as frozen clouds, spears, banners, pinnacles of suspended palaces. Still lakes mirror them. A glimmering world looks up from dark pools covered with clear glass. Cities such as the mind of Durin could scarce have imagined in his sleep, stretch on through avenues and pillared courts, on into the dark recesses where no light can come. And blink, a silver drop falls, and the round wrinkles in the glass make all the towers bend and waver, like weeds and corals in the grotto of the sea. Then evening comes, they fade and twinkle out. The torches pass on into another chamber and another dream. There's chamber after chamber, Legolas, hall opening out of hall, dome after dome, stair beyond stair, and still the winding paths lead on into the mountain's heart. Caves, the caverns of Helm's Deep. Happy was the chance that drove me there. It makes me weep to leave them. And I will wish you this fortune for your comfort, Gimli, said the elf, that you may come safe from war and return to see them again. But do not tell all your kindred. There seems little left for them to do from your account. Maybe the men of this Maybe the men of this land are wise to say little. One family of busy dwarves with hammer and chisel might mar more than they made. No, you do not understand, said Gimli. No dwarf could be unmoved by such loveliness. None of Durin's race would mine those caves for stones or ore. Not if diamonds and gold could be got there. Do you cut down groves of blossoming trees in the springtime for firewood?
I love that line.
We would tend these glades of flowering stone, not quarry them. With cautious skill, tap by tap, a small chip of rock, and no more, perhaps, in a whole anxious day. So we could work, and as the years went by, we should open up new ways, and display far chambers that are still dark, glimpsed only as a void beyond fissures in the rock. And lights, Legolas. We should make lights, such lamps as once shone in Khazad-dûm. And when we wished, we could drive away the night that has lain there since the hills were made. And when we desired rest, we would let the night return. You move me, Gimli, said Legolas. I have never heard you speak like this before. Almost you make me regret that I have not seen these caves. Come, let us make this bargain. If we both return safe out of the perils that await us, we will journey for a while together. You shall visit Fangorn with me, and then I will come with you to see Helm's Deep. That would not be the way of return that I should choose, said Gimli. But I will endure Fangorn if I have your promise to come back to the caves and share their wonder with me. You have my promise, said Legolas. But alas, now we must leave behind both cave and wood for a while. See, we are coming to the end of the trees. Just a brief pause here to enjoy that.
Yes.
My favorite image, like he describes the caves so beautifully and like so clearly, but my favorite image is the dwarf sitting and like looking at this beautiful stalactite or something for an entire day and taking one tiny chip off it.
Yes.
Like, there's no more beautiful description of like craftsmanship.
Yes. I love that he shows us part of the imagery in the reflections in the pools.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the parts that speaks to me. Like, oh, he's a really good speaker, our Gimli. Like, he's fucking. He does not want for the right words.
No. All right, back to it. How far is it to Isengard, Gandalf? About 15 leagues, as the crows of Saruman make it, said Gandalf. 5 from the mouth of the Deeping Combe to the fords, and 10 more from there to the gates of Isengard. But we shall not ride all the way this night. And when we come there, what shall we see? Asked Gimli. You may know, but I cannot guess. Yeah, good luck with that, Gimli. I do not know myself for certain, answered the wizard. I was there at nightfall yesterday, but much may have happened since. Yet I think that you will not say that the journey was in vain, not though the glittering caves of Aglarond be left behind.
The only place where we're told their actual name.
Right? Yeah, you never hear that anywhere else. It's probably the original name, and Gandalf's the only one who still knows it.
Right.
He mentions it, and everyone's like, the what?
I figure that was like he was trying to make a metaphoric statement, like the cats of Queen Baruthiel kind of thing. So I looked it up, and no, the caves at Helm's Deep are called the Glittering Caves of Aglarond.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
At last the company passed through the trees, and found that they had come to the bottom of the coombe, where the road from Helm's Deep branched, going one way east to Edoras, and the other north to the fords of Isen. As they rode from under the eaves of the wood, Legolas halted and looked back with regret. And he gave a sudden cry. "There are eyes!" he said. "Eyes looking out from the shadow of the boughs. I never saw such eyes before." The others, surprised by his cry, halted and turned. But Legolas started to ride back. "No, no," cried Gimli. "Do as you please in your madness, but let me first get down from this horse. I wish to see no eyes." "Stay, Legolas Greenleaf," said Gandalf. "Do not go back into the wood, not yet. Now is not your time." Even as he spoke, there came forward out of the trees 3 strange shapes. As tall as trolls they were, 12 feet or more in height. Their strong bodies, stout as young trees, seemed to be clad with raiment or with hide of close-fitting gray and brown. Their limbs were long, and their hands had many fingers. Their hair was stiff, and their beards gray-green as moss. They gazed out with solemn eyes, but they were not looking at the riders. Their eyes were bent northwards. Suddenly they lifted their long hands to their mouths, and set forth ringing calls, clear as notes of a horn, but more musical and various. The calls were answered, and turning again, the riders saw other creatures of the same kind approaching, striding through the grass. They came swiftly from the north, walking like waiting herons in their gait, but not in their speed, for their legs in their long paces beat quicker than the heron's wings. The riders cried aloud in wonder, and some set their hands upon their sword hilts. "You need no weapons," said Gandalf. "These are but herdsmen. They are not enemies. Indeed, they are not concerned with us at all." And so it seemed to be, for as he spoke, the tall creatures, without a glance at the riders, strode into the wood and vanished. "Herdsmen," said Theoden. "Where are their flocks? What are they, Gandalf? For it is plain that to you, at any rate, they are not strange." "They are the shepherds of the trees," answered Gandalf. "Is it so long since you listened to tales by the fireside? There are children in your land who, out of the twisted threads of story, could pick the answer to your question. You have seen Ents, O king, Ents out of Fangorn Forest, which in your tongue you call the Entwood. Did you think that the name was given only in idle fancy? Nay, Theoden, it is otherwise. To them you are but the passing tale. All the years from Eorl the Young to Theoden the Old are of little count to them, and all the deeds of your house but a small matter." The king was silent. "Hence," he said at length, "out of the shadows of legend I begin a little to understand the marvel of the trees, I think. I have lived to see strange days. Long we have tended our beasts in our fields, built our houses, wrought our tools, or ridden away to help in the wars of Minas Tirith. And that we called the life of men, the way of the world. We cared little for what lay beyond the borders of our land. Songs we have that tell of these things, but we are forgetting them, teaching them only to children as a careless custom. And now the songs have come down among us out of strange places, and walk visible under the sun." "You should be glad, Theoden King," said Gandalf, "for not only the little life of men is now endangered, but the life also of those things which you have deemed the matter of legend. You are not without allies, even if you know them not." "Yet also I should be sad," said Theoden, "for however the fortune of war shall go, May it not so end that much that was fair and wonderful shall pass forever out of Middle-earth. It may, sighed Gandalf. The evil of Sauron cannot be wholly cured, nor made as if it had not been. But to such days we are doomed. Let us now go on with the journey we have begun. I feel like there's a more cheerful way to discuss that, right? Like, yes, much that was fair and wonderful will pass forever, and you can't make it so that this never happened. But much that was fair and wonderful is yet to happen also.
Yeah. And you're paving the way for it with your deeds.
Yeah. Like I think that's a sort of a philosophical point that Tolkien never that didn't really resonate with him, because everything with the elves and when they're talking about, past ages of the world, and everything is sadness for the fair things that are gone. And there's very little looking forward to the fair things that might be coming. Maybe no looking forward, really.
Not really, no. The age of men is not an age of wonder and excitement and beauty. That's just not a thing.
As far as Tolkien thinks.
Exactly. And that's what everyone's talking about when they talk about how things are going to pass and how things are going to change. It's like, because everything else sentient is going to leave and humans are going to be the only ones left. And that is sad. And that was his focus, was.
Well, and it's like similar to when we were talking about Lothlorien, right? And Galadriel using her magic to kind of stop time there and keep everything in stasis. And it's like, that's because the whole philosophy of these books is that, like, yes, we're fighting to prevent destruction, but we also know that we're going to lose all of this beauty, and it's this very, like, change is tragic and change is grief. And it's never like change is wonder and joy. Tolkien wasn't into that.
He wasn't in a general philosophical sense. I would argue that the ending chapters of Return of the King give a more not just the ending chapters, but like the timeline entries give a more wholesome and less tragic point to his. I'm sorry, I can't think in words because I've been painting.
It's okay. Well, I was just thinking about, it's not even that it's, I don't even know if tragic is the word, but like, I don't know, pessimistic or no?
Pensive.
Nostalgic.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
it's
a word that has like temp in it that means that sense that the temp is fugget. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
dancing like a river and there's nothing we can do, and that's a theme he keeps coming back to. But the reason or a part of the books that I prefer to the movies is the end. It's like the movies subverted that all the way up to the end and then made sure that all of those 8 endings made you go, oh, it's all going away. Whereas it's the reverse with Tolkien, where he makes the point over and over, like, things are ending. Things will never be this beautiful again. Gorgeous stuff is dying. And then you get to the end and he's like, except we won! And Sam's getting married and Aragorn's getting married and things that were ugly are blooming. And we're gonna on our way to a hopeless battle, we're going to put the head back on the statue of the king and scrub off the orc graffiti, and
yeah, well,
and everyone gets awesomeness and beauty is abounding, and the summer will be gorgeous and Galadriel's gift and wow, it's like it's very like there's this payoff that says, okay, yeah, the future could have some good stuff in it too.
Right, right. And we'll get to that point, but I just was thinking about like through the course of the stories, we don't have that. Like there's
Nope.
no one being like we're fighting for something. Like they're just fighting
It's all
against.
always against. I think that might be one of the reasons the payoff feels so big. It's not just that he managed to like tie up every detail with a bow, but it's the fact that it's like we have this melancholia, this sense of oh until the ending, and then it's like, oh, that's we're not melancholy anymore. Melancholia is the word I was looking for.
That does not have temp in it.
No. Shut up, you.
I'm sorry. I can't not spell things. Hmm?
It has an E in it. The second letter is E.
There's no I in melancholy.
um,
Well, I'm glad I got to read that section because I
yeah,
would have wanted to anyway. So
it's beautiful. Yeah, and I'm with you. I would love it if they were fighting for if they recognized that there were beauties coming
well,
throughout the book.
I think there's a very, and I don't know obviously as much about the cultural context for during Tolkien's time, but there's a cultural context of humans are always bad and the things we do are always bad and the past is always better than the future that leads, and obviously right now in current events things are very, very bad, and so it leads to this sense of you know everything is lost and all is hopeless and terrible and humans are the virus that should be swept from the earth, which is a really, I find it a very hopeless and unpleasant way of looking at things, and like the mindset that humans are always bad and are separate from nature. And
That bit I hate. I think with Tolkien it had more to do with technology. He hated technological advances more than it wasn't just humans, it was humans that are into machines. And of course humans are into machines, so what are you going to do? But I mean at the end we've got like oh well, we'll get there like you said, but there's a line where it's like, and thus began the reign of King Elisar, of which many beautiful tales are told. So it's like the fourth age of the world is good.
yeah, the fourth age, like there's good stuff that happens in the fourth age, but like it's just not, no one's like, yay, I'm excited for the fourth age. They're all like, the third age is ending. And the part that really that made me think of current events here was the evil of Sauron cannot be wholly cured, nor made as if it
More
had
made
not been.
You know, I felt that too. I did as you were reading it. I felt
And
like wow, and
and
I've got fantasies about like what could happen if the people in charge were suddenly the same sane people and how different that could be very abruptly, and it could not make the evils not have been.
no, exactly. And then he says, but to such days we are doomed. And what I wish he had said is, the evil of Sauron cannot be wholly cured, nor made as if it had not been, but still in future days we may find some beauty and joy that we cannot picture now.
That would be good. That would be been very out of character for Gandalf.
I don't care. I was trying to make it sound as in character as possible off the cuff, but
Yeah, no, I mean the verbiage was right, but yeah, he's going to be like, yep, nope, doom and gloom until someone's like about to cut their own throat, and then he's going to be like, no, happiness.
he's not always doom and gloom. I'm pretty sure it's him that says there are other forces at work in this world other than the will of evil.
fuck. Yeah, he does. But
Like
he never sugarcoats anything. And he never tries to cheer anyone up out of kindness. I don't think Gandalf has a lot of empathy.
Gandalf is a very Granny Weatherwax type character. He's good,
Yeah.
but he's not nice.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
trying to
this
think
reminds me. Sorry,
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you first.
I'm trying to think of a time when he's comforting ever, and the only bit I can think of is later when he's talking to Pippin and calling him an idiot, and then he's like, and then again, you didn't do too bad. For an idiot.
Oh man. So this is not Gandalf related, but it is Granny Weatherwax related. I was reading a post about Discworld, and it was like, talking about how Pratchett treats anti-heroes, where instead of being, people who do bad things, but they're still the heroes because they're good, they're people who don't want to do good things, but do because they know that they're the right thing to do. Granny Weatherwax being a great example, right? Vimes, another great example of this. And then they went on, someone else like reblogged it with another post that went on to be so incredibly wrong about the character of Vetinari that I was like yelling at Sandy, like, this person is so wrong. I can't even tell if they got the name wrong and they were thinking about Vimes, like, is how wrong they were.
Weird.
They were like
Yeah.
talking about how Vetinari is like oh man, Vetinari doesn't believe that there's good in the world, so he's determined to fight for it and make the world better. And I'm like, absolutely not in any way.
My favorite Vetinari speech has to do with the fact that he doesn't see any good in the world, but he's very pragmatic about it. I think
Yes.
he makes different speeches about this, but he's like, I think he doesn't believe good and evil are real things.
No, that's the thing. He is, because this person called him a nihilist, and I was like, no, he's a pragmatist.
Yes.
That is
Yeah.
his entire character and philosophy. And
Making
like,
shit work
yeah,
with a
he has,
minimum of effort, making shit work the way shit wants to work. Because
mhm.
he never has any issues with being incisive about human nature and what direction people go on their own. And all he does is like carve them out channels so they can
Yeah.
do their
And he
thing.
he has absolutely zero ideals about how the world should be. He deals with the world as it is.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the so I don't argue on the internet. This is a matter of personal policy. I do not do it, but I really wanted to. That was the most tempted I've ever been, because I was like, you're incredibly wrong. Were you thinking of a different character? What the hell is wrong with you?
Right. It was like reading the back of Harold and Maude and seeing Maude described as a woman who only sees good in people. And I'm like, she was a Holocaust survivor. She didn't give a shit about good in people. She gave a shit about life. That was
Yeah.
very clear. You didn't watch this movie, and I cannot respect you. Have you seen the trailer for The Watch?
No, because it's gonna make me so angry that I have to be ready to be that angry.
It looks like they're trying. It looks like they didn't think that there was a big enough Pratchett fan base to have a lot to do with the books, so they took the names and some of the general concepts and then ran away.
Mm-hmm. Well, the showrunner posted a like thank you to everyone when they wrapped filming, and it was like, thanks to everyone involved, and mentioned everyone on the crew and everything, and didn't mention Pratchett. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get it right. And it's a shame because it looks like they had fun with atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
making it a little bit medieval, but also a little bit punk, kind of like a long established Ren Fair has got those few people who are dressed like Jack Sparrow or
Yeah, I've heard that it looks like a pretty entertaining like fantasy steampunk police show. It's just not The Watch.
not The Watch.
It's
They
just
should
not Pratchett.
and if they had just done their own thing and done different names, I would have been fine with it being an homage. I would have watched it and been like, oh, wow, someone read some Pratchett. They've got a bald black woman breeding dragons and a clueless police chief and a enigmatic city ruler. Like, this looks great. And Vetinari's a woman. I thought that's a great idea.
They have a non-binary character playing Cheery. I love that.
Yes.
What a shame.
What a shame it's not its own thing.
Yes, but they couldn't. That's the thing. They couldn't have gotten greenlit for that because they got the show greenlit on the premise that it's a intellectual property with an established fan base that will watch it. But what they did was they alienated that fan base, so now none of us will watch it.
No.
But it's too niche to appeal to people who aren't the fan base, so they fucked themselves. Really, I hope.
They really did. They really alienated everyone involved, or not everyone there is.
Dude, Pratchett's
so far,
daughter.
Anyway,
Sir Terry's daughter is furious about it. Because also, when he signed the rights over to the BBC, it was a completely different production team. It was one that he trusted, and then after he died, they switched out the whole production team. She's like, he would have never agreed to this.
No.
But it was too late because he had already signed and he was dead.
And I don't even over-romanticize Pratchett and his own dealing with his own properties as screen things, because he was a goddamn genius, but he was not a very good screenwriter. He didn't understand how to make film magic work for his concepts. So Going Postal is a nightmare, and it totally had him all over it, but it was bloody awful.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a great Pratchett adaptation yet, but I think this is just the worst of bad options.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, it's just, and it would be, the concepts in Vime's books are so relevant right now.
Yeah, isn't that unfortunate?
Yeah. It's, I mean, if they'd done it right, if they'd gotten it right, can you imagine how soothing to the soul that would be right now?
It'd be lovely. We're just gonna have to go reread it.
I do on a regular basis.
Indeed. And on that note, I'm gonna go eat some dinner.
Enjoy your dinner. I love you.
I love you too.
See you Wednesday?
Wednesday, yes. And thanks for understanding my rant about how wrong that person was about Bernard. I'm still bad about it.
I'm there. Good. I'm totally there.
Yeah. All right.
Cuidado.
Diamas.
Bye.
Bye.